For example, if you want to hire teachers for the next academic year in a school, so we first plan like how many teachers we require per grade wise. So if we have any vacancy in pre-primary, we make a note, and primary we make a note. There is a planning, and then organizing things. We organize everything. Say for example, like if a demo is being scheduled, so we organize things like where the demo has to be happen, the things what and all is required for the demo, like the test is being set up or the teachers are being there to take a demo. So those things we take help of others and we organize things.
Correct.
And
And also,
is
yes, ma'am, go ahead.
and staffing is nothing but like after taking a demo, if a candidate is selected, then we'll hire the candidate. Then then she's like the candidate will be appointed.
Thank you, ma'am, Anusha, ma'am. So, just to have a clarity on the understanding, I'm happy that Anusha, ma'am, have given her contribution. So, that's right. What ma'am have talked about is planning, organizing, staffing, directing. After directing, planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Say, for example, I would like to go with the definition. So, how many of you like cooking? I think many, even nowadays, during my COVID times, maybe our COVID times, we all should share the pain, right? COVID-19. So, we all try to learn some new skills, right? So, during my COVID time, like I have learned how to cook because now I'm happy to cook and like serve my family. So why I'm connecting this is, so when it comes to cooking, it is very important to control because you're planning something. So for example, hope you all have enjoyed your Sunday food, maybe a non-vegetarian or a vegetarian. Even like we have prepared a nice biryani today, and I'm one of the contributor of today's biryani. And my family told that yes, it went very well, and then they were happy with the biryani. So the thing is, when I'm preparing this biryani or the food if I prepare, I have to make sure the process involved in it, because like I know how this basically comes out. So for example, if I'm preparing a nice biryani, and the output should not be kind of a lemon rice, or normally like a tomato rice, or some other combination of turmeric rice. So basically like I need to control the process. So, can anyone suggest that which is an important process in correcting the activities in exclusively? I think everyone likes biryani. So, which process is very much important? Can anyone specify? I think even male population is also there in the group. So, you can also suggest exclusively ladies also there. So, you can also suggest. Is there any exclusive process that you think that is important and that need to be controlled and make sure that it has to go on?
The rice and the masala.
Yes, ma'am. Rice and
Masala.
okay, what rice you use matters. Okay, so already you are standardizing your biryani, whether you require a basmati or maybe samba, or what do you call it, a siraga samba or something. So that's fine. Masala, okay. I think someone, I heard someone's voice also. Yeah, Anusha ma'am, you just I think
Yeah.
yeah.
So quantity, how much we put, so that also matters.
That also matters because when you prepare something, the quantity that you require to prepare the recipe matters, because for 1 kg rice, probably if you prepare a masala lesser than a kg, that may not lead to a better output. Yes, Anusha ma'am, you're about to say something.
Sir, I said,
Ma'am,
I told just now.
you only told.
Sir,
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
sir, that is me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So
I think it is masala and magnesium.
that's important. Okay. So So what I'm coming to say here is like each and every process is important. We cannot like say only like rice masala. Yes, we need to measure each and everything. Rice is required, masala is required, onion is required, whether you require a small onion or a big onion. So people may wonder, sir, why you are talking about biryani here? We are talking about controlling process. See, it is a simple way to understand what is controlling. So I would like to take an example of Kunz O'Donnell. So he says, controlling is the process of measuring and correcting the activities of subordinates to ensure that events conform to plans. Say, for example, I would like to take the same recipe. So you play the role of a cook. Can anyone suggest that uh, if the recipe you prepared, the same biryani you prepared, and you came to know that the salt quantity in the biryani is not that adequate. So I think you know the proverb: food without salt, it's a garbage, and too much of salt is also it's a garbage. So you have to throw away. So is there any controlling mechanism that any experts in this class can suggest if too much of salt, sorry, if less salt is there, and what you do almost like rice cooked, and the recipe you're going to like take out of the stove, and then you cannot like add salt all in a sudden. So what can you do in this time duration, or during this time duration? Almost the rice is ready for that, ready for serving, and what will you do that? Can anyone suggest? Any experts? Almost it's
Sir, we
done.
can keep separate salt. Like
Okay.
if someone needs
Aha.
extra salt, they can add it and they can eat
So
it.
yeah.
Or
So
else
this
we can prepare like curd and also that onion they'll mix and keep. In that we cannot add some more salt so that it will be, if we add that in biryani and it should be equalized.
equalized. Very good, sir. Very good. So your ideas, like we cannot decide on the work what we have performed. Maybe an additional, as you said, like in raita or a curd, or maybe in extra. If you require more salt, probably you can add it. Okay, that is one form. That is one form. That is one way of controlling. Nice, nice, sir. Nice suggestion. That is one way of controlling. Is there any other suggestion to provide? Because like yes, salt is required, but if someone may prefer your biryani because like the salt what you have added is pretty much okay and enough for the people to take that biryani. So you may think that the salt quantity may be lesser than you require, but actually it is lesser than the normal requirements. So anyone can suggest apart from sir's suggestion. So we are adding salt in raita, or we are adding salt, keeping salt separately. If you require, you just sprinkle it and then you can consume that biryani. Okay. So I think I heard an example. Maybe I don't know whether it will work or not. So what some restaurant managers they suggested in the maybe in the interview or something. So what they told is like you take, I don't know the quantity. What they said is like you take pretty much maybe medium half a spoon salt, or based on the requirements, and then they told that you have to add lemon along with that salt, and then you have to like pour water a little and a half the equivalent to that lemon what you need to add. So what happens, the experts they told, you have to put a hole in all the uh, what to say, the entire space in the biryani. So you have to put a hole in every locality, and then you have to pour this, and then like slowly you have to leave as it is. But actually this is a kind of a suggestion from an expert. This is like they control even after the results have come. So this can be possible. This is like controllable pattern. but uncontrollable pattern we cannot do. So what I'm trying to tell here is like basically in controlling every process need to be cross checked. For example, when it comes to food, like every time we taste whether salt is enough or whether sugar is enough, whether masala flavor is enough, and we smell, we taste and we'll give that recipe to our maybe mom or husband or a wife or a kid. You check whether the taste is good or fine. The same thing works in a company also. So clearly, I think Coons O'Donnell have specified that any plan or any planning that started in an organization, that has to be controlled properly. The first thing is you have to measure. What is measurement? Say, for example, when you have given a task to an employee to complete the project within a time of 2 hours, and you know that the task is a huge task and then it is like kind of a complicated task, will you leave as it is or you will go and intervene and help the person to complete the task? What will you do? Are you getting my point?
We will help the person to complete the task.
Yes, you have to correct, ma'am. So you have to go and intervene that you know very well the task is uncertain to complete within the time duration what you have given. So what you are supposed to do is like you have to find out a better solution, and then and there you have to measure whether the work is progressing. If the work is not progressing, you need to appoint one more person and you need to help the person to complete the task on time. So that is what is all about controlling. So controlling is a mechanism which helps you to fix standard. The first thing is you have to fix the standard. Give me a second. I have a point for you to show here. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go to the next slide so that you'll get a clarity. So the first thing, I have a point here. Give me a second. Okay. Where's the technology? Adjust with me. Sometimes the system works as it requires. Okay, but we are manipulating. Yes. Okay, fine. So what I'm trying to tell here is like there are three components I would suggest here. First one is setting standards. Can anyone suggest me? Can anyone tell me what is 916? 916. BIS.
That is the standard for goals, sir.
A standard for gold. So 916 means what? 916 means what actually?
The purity of the goals.
Okay. So now you said purity. Okay. So how much purity? That is?
91.6.
Correct, sir. 91. Please, sir. Please go ahead. 91.6. 91.6% gold and the balance is copper.
Yeah.
So any gold you buy from the shop, you set the standard that whether 916 mark is available or not. So whenever you go, even though you go to a branded shop, you check whether the seal is there or not. So you make sure that if the gold has the impression of 916, you make sure that this is the actual gold. It has 91.6 purity and the balance is copper. And there are like 22 carat, 24 carat, there are different combinations are there. I'm not talking. So now what I'm trying to tell is like 916 is the standard. When you prepare gold, when the goldsmiths they make the gold into a jewelry, they have to make sure whether the 91.6 percentage gold is used for making the jewelry. So what is my actual performance? Say, for example, when you make the gold, you are using, for example, you are making a bangle or a necklace, and you are using 90 percentage gold and the balance 10 percentage as copper. So, and you are fixing 91.6 percentage. So is that actual standard, or the fixed, is that the standard what we are meeting, or is that the standard what they have performed?
They have performed.
Or they have performed. So what is the difference between set standard and actual standard?
If whether it should be as per the standard. If it is
As per
following
the standard. So the
91.6,
gap is
then it will
correct.
be
Yes, ma'am.
followed.
Yes, ma'am. Correct, correct. Please go ahead.
If it is not as per the standard, then it is like deviation.
Amazing. So that's correct. So here, what I have, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if I'm not meeting 91.6, I'm meeting only like 90. So my gap is 1.6. So there is a gap between the set standard and the actual performance. So now what I should do in the third step is meeting the gaps between the set standard and the actual performance. So the gap is 1.6. So in the third stage of controlling, I should redesign the jewelry where it should show 91.6 percentage purity. That is the third stage of controlling. So the first stage is setting standard. Second stage is measuring the actual performance. I want someone else to make a note of it. My second point is measuring the actual performance. Third one is finding the deviation. Finding the deviation between the actual and the performed standard. And the fourth point is like correcting the gaps or like meeting the standards. That is the fourth point. And the fifth point is feedback analysis. What is feedback analysis here? Very simple. Why this 90 percentage purity jewelry came out? I told people to manufacture 91.6. Why it is 90 percentage? Why it happened? What is the reason behind that the jewelry was produced with 90 percentage purity? This is one actual process, we call it as controlling process. This comes in the controlling process. Okay, so I'll give you an activity, a small activity. So anyone can decide on that. Okay, so I'm sending some manufactured cars from Bangalore to Ernakulam. Hope you're all hearing me. So I'm sending the vehicle with some manufactured cars. For example, around 10 cars I'm transporting from Bangalore to Ernakulam. So the car need to reach, the vehicle need to reach the showroom by tomorrow 8 o'clock. Morning 8 o'clock it should reach. This is my set standard. This is my set standard. Okay. So can you tell me what are the other controlling process that may happen? Say for example, I'll give you the second point also. Unfortunately, the vehicle reached the showroom in Ernakulam. I will fix that place, Ernakulam. Okay. So Ernakulam, it reaches around 10 o'clock. Instead of 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., it reached 10 a.m. So the actual set standard is 8 a.m., but actually the vehicle reached around 10 a.m. Okay. So now you tell me how to take action against this. How to handle this?
They could have started early.
First point, there is a deviation. So we found that they could have started early. First point. Okay, ma'am. Then
Environmental issues are sometimes.
environmental issues, maybe natural calamities or some external factors that in general uncontrollable factors are there. Okay. Then anything else?
Sir, maybe we should plan it before. Like,
Can you come again, ma'am?
we have to plan it before, sir. As we know, we can control all the process. Maybe we have to plan before. If the setting standard is 8 a.m., we should be like, it should be like, if we set it at 6 a.m., like, then 2 hours of gap will be, this is the gap it is missing.
So you mean like the expected time to be around 7 a.m. instead of 8? We should tell them that it should reach around 7.
Yeah, and no, sir. Yeah, as the gap is 2 hours delayed, we can analyze when we are planning something or controlling something. We can analyze it. As it is delayed by 2 hours, might be we can guess approximately how much gap might be there. So as per that, if we are planning, so that the setting time standard should be at 6 a.m. so that it will be reaching if any it is not a problem if you are going before. It is a problem if you are going lag, like
Yes,
late or
correct,
something.
correct.
So
So
we should plan
so
accordingly. Controlling should
you
be
mean
okay.
to say that you should plan ahead, though you know that a lot of difficulties are there. You need to get ready for all the environmental factors or maybe
Yes.
border issues, maybe
Yes.
state taxation and
Yes.
traffic conditions. Very good, ma'am.
In
Fine.
any process, we
Ah.
yeah.
So for any control mechanism, we need to understand what are the contingencies, what are the difficult times that normally when it comes to transit it happens. Okay. So any other example you can suggest? First is 8 a.m. That is my set standard. It reached 10 a.m. So 8 a.m. is set standard. 10 a.m. is actual performance. Deviation is 2 hours. Deviation is 2 hours. And the fourth component is feedback analysis. What is feedback analysis? Basically, why this transportation takes 2 hours extra to reach the destination. So we need to understand what are the difficulties this transportation takes. So when you do for the next time, we can try to avoid all these mistakes. Can we go like that? Say, for example, the first time the mistake happened in controlling. First time it happened, and then can we go for the next time? Do customers will wait for that?
We should optimize the best route and also have other planned routes also in case of contingencies.
In case of very good, sir. Deepak, sir, thank you for your inputs. That's an amazing point. So when you go for controlling, there are like what to say, plan A, plan B, plan C. So you can have different forms of control mechanism. Maybe in controlling mechanism, there are different types of control mechanism. Feed forward control, action control. There are different budgetary control. There are different types of controlling is there. So we need to make sure like what will happen. For example, there is an analysis called what if analysis. What if it happens like that? So, for example, in a different state, for example, in Kerala, it's heavily raining and you're sending your transportation, probably you know very well that, I think not probably, certainly you know very well that the climatical conditions will not allow you to make the vehicle reach 8 o'clock. So, what is the alternative source so that you can plan ahead and make the vehicle reach? So I think I don't want to go much deeper on this. I'm giving an example like how standard, actual performance, deviation, and feedback analysis is important in the control mechanism. So this is actually the process of controlling. Hope you got clarity on what is controlling. Let me go through again this. Basically, controlling is to measure and correct the activities. What is measurement here? Standard and actual performance. You need to measure why this deviation happened. Then why this deviation happened and what can be done in order to correct the deviation. That is what they have given. Correcting the activity. Correcting the activities. Measuring and correcting the activities of the subordinates. Hope you know. Subordinates is basically the person one who's undergoing the task or your under level employee who works under you. So that's how the controlling goes according to Kuhn's O'Donnell. I don't want to go for more definition. So I just want to control it. So I've given one author's definition. And coming to the next area called importance of controlling. So can anyone suggest why controlling is important in business? Don't go with this point. It's a general view. I think management, this paper is really a good paper. Maybe I think majority of you are into different corporate setup, and I hope that you have come across various projects and maybe your own tasks. Can you suggest to me like why controlling is important?
So basic objective for business is profit.
Profit, correct.
So if you do the fine tuning of the controlling, that helps you to fine tune your profits also.
Can you give me one example, sir, Deepak sir, one example of your own experience? So that like I can also take it from your perspective and the others also can take get it from you.
I'll give you a theoretical prospect itself, wherein you can just find out if you want to manufacture a pen. So there are lots of ways how you can source the ink. So if you source it, say for example, supplier A, it's a different cost. Supplier B gives a different cost, and again the life of the ink and the duration and the quality of the texture of how the ink writes. So all these things, if you're putting the parameters and controlling it, defines how your product can be placed in the market.
Very good. Nice example, sir. Fantastic. So don't get confused. So why I'm asking all these questions? Maybe like it's a peer learning concept. So all of us we have our own experienced examples. That's why I'm asking every one of you. So I think you also can suggest. So thank you, Deepak sir, for your inputs. So sir have given nice example of a procurement process for for pen manufacturing. So I would like to give some general examples. Controlling basically helps to, I have highlighted some words here. So it helps to identify the areas of weakness and also to prevent to not to reoccur. We can take the same example of the vehicle that we have started from Bengaluru to Ernakulam, where it reached the destination around 10 o'clock instead 8. So what is the area of weakness? Whether driver's performance, whether vehicle performance, whether the load is too big, and border issues, maybe taxation issues, traffic issues, climatical conditions, hilly area, and maybe like the performance of the vehicle, and also like when the vehicle reaches the locality, maybe it's a daytime where the traffic conditions will not allow you to enter inside because you are a big vehicle. So there are a lot of areas that we need to identify and we need to handle that. So whenever you go for the next time, you need to study all these areas and try to manage. Instead of daytime, you need to plan so that you can reach on a waiting period, and then you can reach on a night time, so that like you can easily what to say unload the cars in the showroom. And also like one more important aspect is prevent reoccurrence in business. No one will accept maybe like what to say mistakes, whether it is first time or whether it is like you may say that sir it's first time. No. So, as Deepak sir rightly pointed out, business is not a charity. Business is basically a profit-oriented thing. And I know like how this today's GCC setups working. I think, and also like Infosys Narayana Murthy's statement on the number of works. So I don't want to comment on that. So the thing is like we need to prevent the reoccurrence. That is very much important. Example, in industries, mostly manufacturing industry, they need to provide more safety equipments. So when it comes to manufacturing unity, more safety equipments need to be provided, so that we can prevent the industrial accidents and unnecessary claiming and financial what to say uh, contingencies to the organization. So that is one I would like to share here. So deviation from the original plan. So why this deviation from the original plan is happening? I can take you through this example called um, this Amazon, Flipkart. So Amazon, Flipkart play in India is affecting or it's benefiting the country. Can anyone suggest what is their plan? Their plan is to provide e-commerce facility and to provide a seamless shopping experience for the customers and also to be more profitable. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Sir, it is advantage to the customer, sir, but it is disadvantage to small shops or small places where the business is going down.
Okay. Correct. What ma'am said is absolutely correct because the basically this quick commerce and also like this e-commerce platforms mostly like they were targeting even now the bottom of the pyramid. Hope you all know about this concept called in the pyramid there is a bottom. So bottom of the pyramid we have large economic class and the weaker economic classes there. So now many organizations they were trying to dominate the business. Basically, yes, as I told you, business is not a charity, they earn profit, they focus on that, but there should be a space for other players to come inside and be more competitive. So nowadays what is happening, companies trying to avoid competition, avoid in the sense not allowing a newcomer into the business. How many of you know about ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce? Anyone? Okay, so for your information, so Open Network for Digital Commerce is a platform created by Central Government of India in order to handle this competition happening in the economy. Say, for example, Amazon, Flipkart play a major role in the e-commerce platform. As ma'am rightly pointed out, all domestic retailers, wholesalers, distributors, agents, even like transportation business are heavily getting affected because of this e-commerce facility. What is happening? Whatever they are fixing as a price, because people are not like okay with the brick and mortar shopping. They don't go to physical store and buy. Yes, we are buying. I'm not telling that they are not buying, but what's happening here is like people are in the fast and furious world. Probably they prefer online, but because of that preference, these companies are making. They were like making this as an advantage, and probably what happens, this becomes a monopolistic competition in the market. So whatever products that they were selling at a cheaper price, that will directly affects the retailer in the market, wholesalers in the market, agents in the market, dealers in the market. The same thing goes with the other. Recently, we were reading in the newspapers where this Swiggy, Zomato, and then and also like Zepto, they were playing a major role. What happens? How many of you order through Blinkit, Instamart? We have like Zepto. Yes, yes. Someone can. You're ordering.
Yes, sir.
You're ordering, yeah. So many of us are ordering through, even like I also order. So I'm not an exclusive example. So I'm also ordering. So what happens here? Whatever offers during Diwali, Blinkit gives. So I would like to show this. Give me a second. Give me a second. மயில அந்த தீபாவளி gift box கொஞ்சம் கொடுங்க. தீபாவளி gift. Sorry, I called my wife to identify the box. So we recently ordered. Yeah, it's not there. So we recently ordered some product from Blinkit, and we got some Diwali gift. Some 4 to 5 brands that they have added in the product.
Yes, sir, I've also got it.
Yeah. Many have got it. So I think they were searching. I want to like display it to my students to maybe my learners to see. So the point is, see what happens. We are excited to see something new that's coming from the online platform. So what happens here is basically majority of the products from coriander leaves to curry leaves to like maybe like mint leaves, whatever you want, even the local kirana shops you require, everything is available on a 10 minutes or 20 minutes or like maybe 5 minutes delivery, because this quick commerce have set up more warehouses in different locality. So in nearby Bhairathi we have one unit, and then even Blinkit has, Swiggy has. So what is happening here? These people buy products directly from the manufacturers, directly from the big distributors. So what is happening? The traditional FMCG players, dealers, agents, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, everyone is getting affected. Everyone is getting affected. See, today buy one, get one. And then every product is available in their hands at the warehouse. They were able to deliver to the customers on a shorter notice, a shorter period. So what happens here is like, I totally avoid the local retailers. So what is happening? It is a big problem for the players. So now there was a case that dealers, FMCG dealers, and the people, they have filed a complaint in CCI. CCI is a platform called Competition Commission of India. So do anyone know about this platform, Competition Commission of India, CCI? So they have filed a complaint in CCI. So they were monitoring this process. The same thing what Amazon, Flipkart also does. For every product that you buy, the product is being given an extra charge for open box delivery. Do everyone getting open box delivery? Do we have time to like stand and check whether what is there in the product? But whether they were opening or not, we were paying extra amount. We are getting product on a cheaper cost. We feel that. But fortunately, what is happening? We were not knowing like at what price that was sold in the market, right or not? At what price these products are sold in the market, no one knows. We were blind. For example, tomatoes price is around that was the highest price. Probably like now it is getting reduced. Recently, those family and then bachelors, those who are cooking, very well. Tomatoes price is too high. Now it is like around in the even in the market, when you go to this market, so it comes around like 43 to 45. But when you go to online, they used to sell around 50 rupees. So you believe that that is the price and you buy. So a physical movement and knowing the market price is totally zero. So what I'm trying to tell here is like, now business are getting deviated from the original plan, and they were making others to struggle. Customers are getting struggled. Yes, we are getting struggled, and no competition. Assume that if only Swiggy, Zomato is there in the market and no player in the market, that's all. Whatever Swiggy fixes, whatever Zomato fixes as the pricing, it will go off. We have to pay for it. So now I think Bangalore also going to levy an extra charge for all these quick commerce food delivery players. So that's why this ONDC has come, open network. So how many of you traveled through this auto called Namayatra? You know Namayatra auto?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, yes.
yes, ma'am. So this Namayatra is backed by ONDC. You can see in that app itself. When you open this app, you can see OMDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce. So that was supported by ONDC, and they say that whatever you pay, that directly goes to the auto driver. And compared to Ola, I'm not marketing any brand, but as a customer, I'm experiencing and I'm giving my view. So the thing is, basically, what happens here is like companies are getting deviated. They were out of control. They were doing some other activities. They were making bottlenecks for more business to grow. That's a big problem. So companies need to be. That's why this what to say. We have this. National Company Law NCLT. How many of you know this platform called NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal? Recently, Paytm. Anyone from the governance side? Okay, National Company Law Tribunal is basically what happens if there is a discrimination, if there is a fight between a company or any issues between the corporates, they can file a complaint through NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. So this NCLT will take care of these issues. So there are more bodies are there, governing bodies are there to control. So now business are deviating. Business are like largely deviating. So automatically our people are getting affected. General market. Now one more example I would like to say is like now we are facing retail and wholesale price inflation. And so how many of you say that like even 500 rupees is not enough to get maybe a week requirement on vegetables? Minimum in the city, in the metropolitan city where we live, basically we require around 500 rupees. So we are in the high rated inflation, retail price inflation. This is happening because of certain behavioral and uncontrollable practices of the corporate. We face because of something happening outside in the company. So why Walmart is not allowed? There are, I think, I don't. If you leave me, then I'll go ahead with more stories. I don't want to go for it. I'll restrict here. So always companies need to focus on their plan. They should not deviate it. They should not deviate it. So a lot of things need to be controlled. And also coming to the next importance is basically they need to check whether all the departments are in the process. Say for example, I sell a four-wheeler to a customer. The customer calls the CRM and the CRM says that, sir, I have to check with the what to say, mechanical department and let me check with the mechanic and let you know. And the CRM was not least bothered about the customer complaint, that the customer complaint will escalate like anything. So what I'm trying to tell is like whatever services or whatever products or maybe like the process you are involved, you need to make sure that all the departments, whether it is streamlined or not. Hospitals, for example, hospitals daycare is fine every day. I'm talking about like the timing from maybe like 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. It works very well, but during night time, how hospitals are functioning, whether hospitals having enough doctors, nurses, whether people are aware if any emergency happens, whether department works very well. Majority of the times you can see only few hospitals or multi-specialty hospitals, they have a like shift-based employees, they work with the full-fledged. Some hospitals we may not require. So by what happens, though you provide a better service in morning, but night you don't have a proper service, then you're out of the business. So I think I want to add these two examples. That's why I've given. And also like it helps us to take decisions. As I told you, this travel example, or you can take this gold example. we asked for 91.6, but we were able to manufacture only 90. So we can decide on something, or quick decisions we can take. When there is a problem, we can take quick decisions. So that's a only thing. Say for example, you're traveling by car and you are feeling something that it's happening in the car. You need to take a decision immediately. You should control it. Some may say that I think some tire problem is there. The vehicle is wobbling. So if you are on, if you are deciding on something which is happening in the car, you need to park the vehicle on a safer side first. You have to decide on that. If something which is happening, then you need to decide on that immediately. That is what I've mentioned in that. Important function is take clear decisions whenever required. Say, for example, when you're driving a car, I can give you one more example. You're driving a car with 80 kilometer speed. Okay, so you're driving a car. Give me a second. So some change in the. You're driving the car in 80 kilometer speed. So do you take decisions on controlling the speed, or you will go with your own pace, 80 kilometer speed from start to the end? Whenever you require, you apply clutch, you just shift down the gear and you apply brake and adjust and you go, right or not? Hope you all agree. Yes, I hope like all will agree. So what happens here? You decide on every second when a bus comes, when someone comes in your lane, automatically you decide on the spot. That is all about controlling. In the driving, you are giving acceleration. So you decide that giving acceleration is not good. By this time, a lorry or a big vehicle is coming. You take a left indicator and then you slow down. You just shift the gear down and then like apply the brake and then you wait for the vehicle to move. Will you take this decision? Yes, you will take decision. So then and there, controlling is required. We can't simply go. And the next one is a well-designed control system ensures good results. Yes, if you want to reach the destination, you need to take proper control over. And as you all know, few will take 9 to 120, 100 with that speed they go. See, it's a vehicle. It's just a machine. We need to understand how the machine is working. Okay, we need to understand who's traveling along with you. You need to understand like who are the people who is responsible for the work. The same thing is in the company also. You should think about your subordinates. You should think about your superiors. You should think about you also. Okay, so when you do proper control, you may yield better results. I can apply with more examples. And also, when you do proper controlling, you can get the planned results. What you have planned and what you have achieved, that can be seen in the results. Say, for example, if I put SWOT analysis, SWOT. What is SWOT analysis? I'm not talking about SWAT, the police squad. I'm talking about strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. I think you know, right? So basically, what happens when you decide on the opportunities? Are we using better opportunities? Are we using our strengths seamlessly? So every new year we take resolution. I want to learn a new program. I want to learn a new course. I want to earn maybe 5 lakh or 6 lakh, and I want to like start a business. So every time you have a plan, but whether you are able to control yourself and whether you are able to achieve the results on time or not. So you need to have proper control in order to get a better result. Okay, so I think I don't want to deviate it here. So if you give me more time also, like I will go. So I will get into the next one. So I have a small activity for you. I want you to take all these 5 points and give me an example. In the chat box, you can give any one scenario. I gave you two scenario. One is gold scenario, and the second scenario is transportation scenario. Okay, so this is a control process. Establishment of standards, measuring of actual performance, comparison of actual performance with the original standard, taking corrective action, feedback. This is the control process. So I want you to, I'll give you 5 minutes. I want you to think and type in the chat box. So I want all the 44 to type. So I request all of you. So if you require any clarity, you can raise. Hope you got the point what I'm asking for. Please type. So your time starts now. So I expect you to type before 7:03. So all the actions are taken by associate managers. Okay. No, I don't understand. Ma'am, Aisha ma'am, like what I'm asking is, you think an example and then you associate with this control process. Yes, all associated manage will take, but I want you to give me an example. Say, for example, I'm planning for a trip. I'm planning for a activity. Sorry, I can't permit you to record this. I have a recording here. I'm waiting for your points. So I want you to give examples for all the 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One scenario, all the 5 points. Those who have not renamed your, I think few names are iPhone something. Please rename. So I think it will be taken for attendance. If it is given as iPhone or Android, I cannot. Samsung something is there. Please rename it. So Uma Nadayan, I think ma'am have given about handling reports and audits, handling appraisals. Okay. So this is a general, I think this is fine, but I'm asking you to type, I'm setting standards. You just take an example. I'm asking you, so if there is a question comes in your examination, draft a scenario to handle the control process. Okay, here it's right. I think Shilpa ma'am have given. Shilpa ma'am, planning a trip with friends. First we check the reasonable rates, resorts, then we will finalize the price, and then finalize the members, then book the vehicle. All this is fine, okay. So here, what is establishment of standard? What is actual performance? Comparison of actual and original performance, corrective action and feedback. This is what I require now. Okay. Standards set to service a vehicle. Okay. No, when a question is asked in examination, how will you write this control process? So when you write this establishment of standard, what will you write? Okay. Identify the points. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I think many have given. Very good, very good. Deepak sir talked about vehicle. Nisha ma'am talked about planning technique for subordinate, checking the head count, the location. Sridharan sir making of coffee such standards with the sweetness and strongness make offer coffee. Okay, okay, very good. It's fine. Aisha ma'am, establishment of any process comes down. Fix. Okay, actual performance. Navya ma'am talked about daily goal to achieve 1,000 units of biscuits. Okay, so measuring actual performance, comparing between 1,000, appreciating worker, looking for the results. Tejas ma'am talked about Tejas sir. Okay, answer level 95 percentage, 92, 3% dip. Very good. Identify the reason for a dip. Super sir. I think Tejas sir has given precisely. That's fine. Others also have given, but Tejas sir to the context. Uh, in a smartphone manufacturing company, the control plus more setting production standards. Okay, 10,000, very good. 2,000 defect rate, measuring actual performance 9,000, three defects, comparing identify deviations, and then improving with the feedback. Very good. Packaged food, many were doing. Joel Maska, ma'am. Aisha, ma'am. Okay, Uma Narayanan, ma'am. Deepak sir have given again. Okay, very good. Documented. Okay, so I have given one more. So I'm planning for a walk, evening walk. So my plan is to go around 7,000 steps. That is my establishment of standard. And actually, my measurement of actual performance is 4,000 steps. So 3,000 is my deviation. So comparison of actual performance with the original standard is there is a deviation of 3,000. And my fourth point is taking corrective action is like I'm deviating and I'm correcting the steps and trying to improve and reach out to 7,000. And my feedback is time, energy, food, and water is the problem. So when I try to correct this feedback, probably in the next time I can go for 7,000 steps. Hope I think majority have given. I'm happy for all those who have posted. So it's easy for us to understand. So without much delay, I'm moving on to the next one. So again, after this control process. Hope you all noting down. So we'll discuss this Gantt chart. So Gantt chart basically subdividing the activities into many parts. So I think many were putting Chandu sir, yeah. So he has given a point on bike scenario, setting manufacturing measured standard, difference taken, corrective actions. Very good. Okay. So the purpose of asking you to connect with the topic. Okay. So here, what I would like to discuss about here is all about Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is basically, again, this is also a kind of a controlling technique. So in the previous slide, we discussed about. Give me a second. Why it's not moving? Yeah. So Gantt chart is basically a controlling technique. So what is a controlling technique? In the previous slide, we saw how to control. This is a process. So I gave you an example that instead of 3,000, 4,000 steps, I have gone for 7,000 steps. I have gone for only 4,000 steps. The deviation is 3,000. Why this deviation is happening? So this Gantt chart, you see, this Gantt chart will help us to control. So what happens before it happens? I will try to control the activity. So basically what happens if you read the first one? It helps in breaking down a project into small tasks and organizing them into a logical sequence. What is that logical sequence? I think in the chat box, someone talked about, in the chat box, someone talked about like planning for a tour. So for planning for a tour, so we are dividing this into several segments. So for example, what vehicle, which vehicle we are planning, how many members are there in the group, what is the budget, and where is the destination, and many things we are discussing. So what basically this Gantt chart is, how we are dividing the work into several subsegments. That is the actual activity of Gantt chart. And then after dividing the segments, for example, we plan for a tour to Mangalore, and 10 members are traveling, and we are going to take this big vehicle that costs around maybe 40,000 rupees for up and down, and the other expense. So we are fixing all the work. The second point is scheduling. Assign start and end date. When we are starting, when we are reaching back. That's the second one. Third one is resource allocation. How many are coming? What equipments we require? What kind of resources? Men resources, material resources, money resources, equipment resources, all those things we should take. And then like tracking progress. When you start the trip, where we started. So for example, we planned, today is 27th October. We are planning to reach back on 31st because first is Diwali. Hope you all, Diwali, all were ready for Diwali. So hope all have booked tickets and then you are ready for your Diwali celebration, I believe. So I think first is Diwali. Yes, I think everyone is ready. I'm happy to see the thumbs up. I think Apurva ma'am have given. Nice. Okay. So the thing is, so I have a tracking plan. So I'm planning on 31st night or 30th night to start my journey to my native, and I'll be back on 2nd or 3rd to my regular work. So I need to track so that all have booked tickets. Now, I think there is one problem with IRCTC booking. There is a small change in that. Earlier, we got around, I think, 60 days, I believe, right? Now we are getting only 30 days, sorry, 60 days. Earlier, it was 120 days.
We get only 60 days.
Only 60 days now. Only 60 days. So 60 days prior booking only allowed. 120 days prior booking is not allowed because IRCTC is facing a big problem with number of vacant seats and they were running the vehicle. And IRCTC have planned instead of 120 days, that's around 120 days to 30 days. Sorry, 120 to 60. So they have reduced into half. So now actually what is happening, this is also a control mechanism of IRCTC by central government, because if I'm allowing people to book 120 days before, they have different plans. What happens? I book on once and then again I cancel, and then like someone goes to book a ticket, probably they may not get the ticket. That is one. And sometimes what happens? Someone else travels instead of them, and then a lot of empty seats are being like used, and then some issues are happening. So IRCTC plan to reduce the number of days prior. So now it is around 60 days prior you can book. So you need to track. You are planning for a trip, so you need track when you are going to plan and then when you are going to return back. And that is one. And also uh, coordination and understanding like what was planned and what was actually discussed. So the point is like what we have planned. For example, we would have planned for a 3-day trip. Sometimes it may extend to a 4-day trip also. So what happens here is like we have to be very clear in understanding the problems in the communication, because like when we plan for some days, probably we may take money based on the planning. So we may take a lakh or a 2 lakh for the entire journey, but probably if we overflow it, it'll be a problem. So we need to think about it. So 1 lakh, what is the budget? What is the time duration? Food, transportation, facilities, diesel, driver facilities, everything we need to think. So deadline management. When we start a trip to a locality, we need to give time. Everything is time bound. Can you tell me that there is no time bound activity? Anything is, sleeping is a time bound, travel is time bound, life is time bound, any assignment is time bound, your problem is time bound, your happiness is time bound, your life is time bound. So we need to set a deadline. I'm not asking you to set a deadline, but everything has its own deadline. So today, my deadline for my work-life balance ends today, because I have to start my work tomorrow. I have to start the work. I have to prepare for my classes. I have to go and get ready for the session. So if you don't fix deadlines, you cannot go for the next task, next activity. Next one is dependency management. Basically, task dependencies, indicating like what is happening then and there. And then what is happening here, when you whenever you do an activity, you need to tell them what is happening, what is progressing. We call it as work in progress. So I need to show them, I need to tell them like what is happening in my work. So otherwise people may not understand that, they think that you have not completed and you are not in the right track. Stakeholders communication, you should inform to people, those who are responsible and those who are about to know this activity. Say for example, you are going for a trip, the same trip I'm taking, you're supposed to inform your wife, husband, kids, in-laws, your company or your relatives. So those who are liable to know your progress, your journey, you need to inform them. The same thing happens here also. So who is your stakeholders? Your employees, your customers. My stakeholders are my students, my management, and maybe my other associates, colleagues. All are stakeholders, and I am talking about the internal stakeholders. And external stakeholders also, I have other institutions, other colleagues. So I need to communicate with them what I'm doing, so that like I can get attached with them. And identify bottlenecks. What is bottlenecks? Basically, when a person try to face any challenges, they need to handle that spot very clearly. Some may think that okay, let's handle it later. And there is a good proverb called like prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. We put this word very simple. Prevention is better than cure. The word looks very, what to say, contemporary. We use it is not a contemporary word, we use that, but the word is very clear. Prevention is better than cure. So, when there is a bottleneck, and you know very well that there is a speed breaker, you're traveling by car, there is a speed breaker, you need to pause and then go slowly. If you go with the same speed, if you go with your own level in every road conditions, you cannot reach back. The same thing also, when you travel or when you do a project, you need to identify the bottlenecks. For example, there is a challenge in a programming language and you don't know about this next process. So you need to communicate it to the TL or the concerned person to rectify it. And you think that you felt very bored and then you don't do that, you will face challenges. And then adjust plans. For example, what I told you in the previous case is all about problem solving, communicating, coordinating, deadline management. Here, basically, the point is we have talked about like adjusting plans. So, adjusting plan is basically like you can do small adjustments in your project, but the end result should be what you actually expecting it should be there. That is the actual point it talks about adjusting plans. In between, a lot of changes can happen. Without that, no one can standardize. Even cooking, also, we told sometimes salt may be on a higher side, salt will be less, masala will be high or low. So we need to add water, less water, then we do some modifications. End of the day, we eat a tasty food or something. So basically, whatever activity you do, you need to have some adjustment plan, or we should have a plan A, plan B, or plan C to do some modifications. So with that, I'm closing this Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is basically a controlling technique. Can anyone tell me if you are applying this Gantt chart? Do you miss any controlling mechanism? Do we have a track? Can we have a track of the activities what we can do? If you see this, planning the project, scheduling, resource allocation, tracking progress, coordination, deadline management, dependency management, stakeholders communication, identifying bottlenecks and adjusting plans. Hope you got the clarity. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one. There are two more techniques I'm going to discuss here is like PERT and CPM. So anyone aware of this technique called PERT? It's called as project evaluation or program evaluation review technique. Okay, I'll make it very simple. Do anyone constructed house recently, or anyone planning to construct a house? Okay, so I don't want you don't want to reveal it. Okay, so to construct a house, how long it will take? 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or less than a year? Any suggestion? Don't
the
get.
size of the project.
It depends on the size of the project. So, say for example, I'm planning for a 2 BHK, 1,200 square feet building. So, what will be the deadline, sir?
1 year maybe, sir.
1 year. Mahalakshmi ma'am is telling. Okay, so Deepak sir has also suggested like based on the project, and ma'am suggested 1 year. So, for this 1 year, this PERT technique, this is a controlling technique. Again, it's a controlling technique. Basically, it's originated from or developed by US Navy in the year 1950s. So there is a submarine team, they have designed it. So basically, it talks about three types of timing: optimistic time, pessimistic time, and most likely time. In the optimistic time, you see the minimum possible time required to complete the task. So for this 1,200 square feet, 2 BHK building, as ma'am suggested, 1 year, what will be the minimal? So 1 year is minimal. So we set optimistic time as minimal possible time. Second one is pessimistic time. The maximum possible time required to complete. Say for example, 1 year is the minimal possible time. what would be the maximum possible time? Can anyone suggest? I think even ma'am can also suggest.
Sir,
Can
it
we?
1 year,
depends on the
6 months.
criteria and requirement of the customer, sir. If they
Yes.
want more cost thing, then it might go up to 2 years, sir. If they want it in a similar simple thing, then it will get over in 1 year, sir.
Okay, so I'll go with this one more point. So yes, customers' requirement is huge because then and there, whatever they say, we cannot say with the same budget we cannot plan. So for example, customer is saying that I am planning for new designer designing, and then like my interior need to be designed such a way. So every week, I would say like every week or 10 days once, the rate in the market, it's keep on fluctuating. It is highly volatile, whether it is steel or a sand or a brick or any plastic material or furniture or whatever wood. So the thing is, as a maybe people in the construction field or someone else, you suggest what would be the maximum possible time, uh, even to complete the customer's requirement. Ma'am suggested 3 years. Is it okay? Yeah.
2 years, sir. I said two.
2 years. Okay. So the pessimistic time is 2 years because, as ma'am rightly suggested, that customers have a requirement that they need to add few more facilities or maybe some add-ons in their building. So my optimistic time is 1 year. My pessimistic time is 2 years, and most likely time. So this is minimal and maximum. What is my best estimate? In between, can anyone suggest that what is the most likely time to complete? So your optimistic is also a projection, and your pessimistic is also a projection based on the requirement. What is the most likely time? Most likely time is here. You can read the statement, you can understand. Best estimate of the time required to complete the task, assuming everything proceeds as normal. My cost will be normal, labor will be normal, climate will not be a problem, customer, market, all these will not be a problem. So within 1 to 2 years, what will be the most likely time?
So
Sitting at the same place.
safely take it as an average of between the
Yes.
optimistic time and the pessimistic time.
Yes, sir. So we can take, yes, sir. Maybe I would
1 year,
say
6 months.
1 year, 6 months. We cannot go with 1 year. So maybe 1 year, 6 months, because it is very competitive in the business. When there are two construction companies are there, and then if the customer asks for the project to get completed within 1.5 years, and a company suggests that no, it is not possible for 1.5 years, customers are very clear. I want the building to be completed within 1.5 years. A company says 1.6, B company says 1.8. Customers will go for 1.4 or 1.5. There are like other factors also there. I cannot like deny. We have various in different dimensions we can think. We can think. But here the most likely time what people prefer, okay, sir, your requirements, I have facility, I have employees, I have all materials, I have a good contract. So I have my own experience in this field. I can complete the project within 1.4 years or 1.5 years. Customers will go to the most likely time because I cannot simply guarantee. So here what happens when I fix the deadline, my most likely time, you need to make sure first what is your optimistic time and what is your pessimistic time. Then only you can decide on your most likely time, because you cannot like decide on before optimistic or after pessimistic. It is very difficult. So it is a controlling mechanism. Can you see here? Basically, this PERT talks about time. Very simple. Within how many days or within how many months or years I can complete a project. That's all about this PERT. I think those who studied statistics, probably you know very well about this PERT. And I move on to the next technique. One more controlling technique is all about uh, critical path method. So critical path method is basically two things. it will, in the PERT, we talked about only time. Here, it talks about time as well as cost. Cost is also concerned, or cost is also a big deal. So, in the previous PERT talked about project evaluation review technique, and that was developed by US Navy, and that special focus is time. And here, in the critical path method, it was developed by DuPont. Can you see here? Developed by DuPont and Remington. So they developed the CPM model. And if you see here, in the third point I've given here, you see, the CPM method is best suited for projects with well-defined time estimates and also the cost involved in it. So these are two combinations which we can see in this critical path method. Give me a second. Yeah. So that's the only difference between the critical path method and the PERT. I don't have enough time to brief on all the components, so I'm making it faster. So I think that is the only thing in the CPM concept. And you can see in the last point I've given calculation. So basically what happens in the critical path method, it will identify the longest path of planned activities, and also like it will try to identify the ways to minimize the time on a shortest possible time duration to complete. As I told you in the previous also, it identifies the optimistic, pessimistic. Here also, it will try to identify the longest time duration, but also meanwhile, it try to how to cut down the time duration to complete the task. So basically, this is also a control mechanism to complete the task. So I think in your materials also, it is given very clearly with some examples. So you can refer your study material also. And I think basically the leading and motivating factors followed by controlling. So when I think leading and motivating is the other component that supports controlling, because when you try to control an activity, you need to have proper motivation. You need to have proper leadership quality. So without a leadership quality, without motivating people, for example, either you need to give finance, you need to give award or reward, and you need to act as a leader. You should not act like maybe like an autocratic type of a leader. There are different types of leaders are there, you know very well. So you need to be more humanistic when you handle people. So you should not boss people. Bossing is fine. Okay, you're the boss, but you should see the qualities: interpersonal skill, communication skill, being empathetic, being more what to say humble or humanistic. It's very much important, and knowing the work-life balance of the people is also very much important. Today's without work-life balance, and either the person will lose the family or the person will lose the profession. But coming to this perspective, no, proper motivation leads to a better balancing between the work and the life. So I think the leadership and the motivating probably you can go through, and that has a shorter combination. I don't have much to clarify and discuss. So I would like to complete this evolution of management thought and theory. So I hope you got some clarity on the controlling process techniques. We saw three techniques, and then also we discussed the some of the importance of controlling things here. And today we'll discuss about evolution of management thought and the theory how it developed. So today we're going to discuss about 5 theories. So there are 5 approaches or theories. So let me explain one by one. So this is classical. In the classical thing, there are two things. The first component is scientific management, and under scientific management, there are two combinations: administrative management and bureaucratic management. So I will give you some examples on this classical management theory. These three authors, philanthropists, they have given I'd say that they are management gurus. Henry Fayol, F.W. Taylor, and Max Weber. So they have contributed these theory, classical management theory. So let me go for this. Under classical, as I told you, I've divided into three components. Scientific management is basically focused on the technique used in productivity. Example, when time and motion is properly used in a assembly line, the work can be completed on time. That is the approach of scientific management. So, can anyone suggest to me that without time, without motion, means movement, can we complete the assembly line manufacturing? Maybe in the two-wheeler assembly or four-wheeler assembly? If time and motion is not handled properly, productivity cannot be managed. That is the approach of scientific management. I think someone says, yes, not possible. Yes, Deepak sir is correct. And the second approach is bureaucratic management. So here you can see bureaucratic management focuses on overall organizational system. Bureaucratic, you can use the word bureaucratic. CBI. What is CBI full form? Central Bureau of Investigation. You know, right? So bureaucratic is basically controlling mechanism. You should have a proper rules, regulations, and controlling mechanism so that the organization works well. That is the approach of bureaucratic. Administrative management is basically functions of management. It focuses on functions of management. What are the functions of management? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. So these are the functions. So this classical approach focuses on three dimensions. One is scientific, second one is bureaucratic, and the third one is administrative. Still, I can go with some examples. I hope you got clarity on this scientific classical approaches, the classical theory. Now I am moving on to the next combination called behavioral approach. Okay. So in the previous case, it talks about the scientific theory, scientific management, administrative management, and bureaucratic management. These three combinations. Now the second management thought, it focuses on behavioral aspects. So behavior means it focuses on human behavior. So how many of you like to work along with maybe your colleagues, or the colleagues, maybe like your friends in your company, and they were very close to you? So how many of you prefer to work with them in any projects in the future? Anyone? Or you want to change the people every time?
Sir, it's better to have same colleagues, so that your wavelength might match sometimes. Sometimes it might not match.
Correct. So, correct. What ma'am said is absolutely right. So, in the first behavioral management theory, so there was a what to say, approach or experiment done by Elton Nye. So he did an experiment called like a very social factor experiment called Hawthorne studies. It's given in the third line. So what he did is he identified a set of employees. He differentiated two, room 1 and room 2. In room 1, he has given some breaks. In room 2, he has not given break, and also like people are from different crowd was put in the group in the room. What happens there? The productivity of room 1 increases because room 1 people given time for relaxation, and then room 2 people not given time, and also like room 2 people don't have people of their own known circle. So what happens in the human relations management? Elton Mayo, there are more relay assembly test room facility, and then like what to say, lighting experiment. Many experiments are there, but if I explain everything, then I think I require 2 more hours. So I'm making it very precise. So in the human relation movement, Elton Mayo have tested two set of employees, and he identified that time, known members, and also like when it comes to providing some rest time and giving freedom makes people to be more productive. And in today's I think in today's AI world, hope you know very well that if you are sitting in the chair, an AI, hope you know that there was a video that AI captures that a lady was simply like lying and folding, just stretching her arms like this, and AI detects that she is not performing. So see, the technology has gone like anything. Do anyone like aware of this video? Like the lady is sitting in a chair, and then she was working in the system, and after a certain time she was like she's just like bending her neck, and then like she's like twisting and turning. So the AI senses and says that she is not performing the work, and also like she stood up, and then she has gone for a coffee, and during the time the AI detects that and then says that the girl is not working, the woman is not working, and then it is considered as a maybe like a non-working time. So now technology is a positive pattern, but also on the other side it also goes too advanced. So that need to be understood by the management. See, every human needs some resting time. They require proper work life balance. If people are coming 5 minutes 10 minutes late, maybe probably like some kind of a humanistic approach need to be applied. So I think there are many cases. I think recently also we talked about, hope you all heard about corporates some death also. So because of the pressure and other things, every profession has its own pressure and kind of what to say thing. So not no profession has a kind of what to say relaxed fit. Every profession has its own work, and then kind of a nature. So what Mayo is saying that humans need to be identified. What actually employees want, what to be how to be motivated, how to be treated. All those things comes under human relations movement. And coming to the next component called Maslow's hierarchy theory. So do anyone knows about this Maslow's hierarchy theory? Okay, in your life, what you want basically? What is your actual need? I'm shaking the camera, so I'm sitting in one place for a long time. That's why I'm changing. So please bear with me. Hope all the IT professionals who are sitting, sir, we are more expertise than you to sit. Yeah. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy theory. Yes, Uma ma'am talked about food. So the physiological needs, for your physiological need, what you require: food, shelter, clothing. And also, I would like to add 2 more points called education and entertainment. We think only food, shelter, clothing. I would like to add education and entertainment is also an important aspect when it comes to your physiological needs for everyone. Equal education. Entertainment is up to you, but you have to be restrictive entertainment. So first one is physiological needs. Then what needs you want? Safety, security, love needs. Then like what to say, self esteem needs and self actualization. I think hope you have gone through the hierarchy. So Maslow's have talked about every humans need to be given with proper food, shelter, clothing, education, entertainment. So hope you all like sitting and hearing my lecture for your maybe like your professional progress, or maybe for your promotional perspectives. Your people are doing that. So at end of the day, it goes to what? To satisfy your basic needs. You want to get your food regularly. You want to be in a house, and then you need to buy clothing, and you need to educate your kids. You need to grow in your life. So basically, the behavioral management theory talks about understand your employees and try to satisfy your employees first. Then automatically they will take care. There was a statement: take care of your employees, they will take care of your business. Okay, so that's I've heard it from many uh, business gurus. So that's the approach when it comes to behavioral management theory. And the next era is like quantitative management theory. I'll put like I have a question. Data analytics is important to understand or to improve the performance in F1 race, Formula One race. Do data management, do data is required to improve the performance in Formula One race, F1 race? Can anyone tell me whether it is required or not?
It's required, sir, to it's required for the to increase the speed of the race. Like, the newcomers might go more faster to compete.
Very good, man. Very good. Fantastic. So the thing is, very good. So it's all about the driver, and also this data will try to tell you like what is the speed at which the car turned in that particular curve, in the bend, and also like what kind of aerodynamics is required to be built in that car. You cannot change the entire aerodynamics, but you need to check. So for every performance, this car is lagging like 1 minute compared to the previous car. So data will clearly tell how that car performed and how this car performed. So it's whether it is because of the driver or whether it is because of the vehicle. Always we cannot talk about drivers' performance. All drivers have different thing, but sometimes this data will tell us how this vehicle crossed, how this vehicle passed, whether there is a mistake in the driver's appeal or whether there is a mistake in the car. It has a big deal. It has a big deal. Right or not? So basically, what happens? This quantitative management theory, the next level after humanistic, it basically works with the data. Decision making based on data. So, do we decide based on anything based on GDP? Do anyone knows what is GDP? Hope you all know. Gross domestic product, GDP. Do you know what is inflation? Anyone knows inflation? What is inflation? We are facing, no, we are inflation, food inflation. We are facing food inflation, right? So we are facing inflation on every basic commodities, facing inflation on tomato, potato. Maybe 20 days before, or maybe like 1 month before, the price of the tomato at which what we bought today is not the same price. So we face inflation on tomato, potato, and onion. They call it as pot. What is pot? Pot is otherwise called potato, onion, tomato. Are we facing inflation on all these three things? These are all basic requirements. No? Potato is okay, fine, but onion, tomato is required. No? So the thing is, even data is required. Even data is required. Why I'm like connecting with this onion, tomato, potato is like there is an inflation that talks about that rural inflation on food is high than urban inflation. Can anyone tell me? Rural inflation, urban inflation. Rural people are facing more food inflation. Urban people are like comparatively, they were not facing as like rural people. Why? We also eat sambar rasam. They also like eat sambar rasam. And then we live in a different style and they live in a different style. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone suggest me that why in rural background the inflation, food inflation is high? In urban, I'm not telling urban food inflation is not there, but compared to rural, in urban the inflation is little less. Why?
Because of the product reach, sir, the urban gets more products and the quantity what they get is more compared to the rural because of the transportation and also because of other technical issues also, sir.
Amazing, very good, simple. Ma'am, I've given precise. So the consumption, the spending power of a rural community is mostly on food and food related. They won't spend much on like what to say taxi services or air services or maybe buying a new vehicle or like it depends on the how urban community spends. So the rural community spending power on food and food related is much higher than the urban community. So how many of you skipped your breakfast sometimes? How many of you like skipped your lunch or dinner because of your work and work related? How many of you skipped your meal sometimes because of? But in the rural background, they never ever miss their breakfast. Whether it is lunch or dinner doesn't matter. But breakfast is mandatory for them. They will go with the healthier breakfast. How many of you are consuming millet on a daily breakfast? Or daily or on a weekly basis? Any millets that you take in your daily life?
Yes,
Than
sir.
rice.
Every day.
Every day you take, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Every day you take. Any other anyone else in the group you do you take millets? So for example, a foxtail, barnyard. I think very less. There are 40 members are there. Yes, people say sometimes. Okay, ragi, jowar, bajra. Okay, very good. Yes. Okay. So those who have mentioned that you're taking this millet-based food may know the reasons behind that you are taking this millet-based food, because you know the impact of food that you take in the urban segment that impacted you. For that you are taking, or you have a habit of taking this ancient grains are better for our biology. Yes, correct.
Sir, it's
Okay.
both beneficial for health and also environment, sir. Environment.
Okay. So is that a realization after some happenings, or this is by birth you and your family got aligned with this food and food related?
It's
Ah,
after realization, sir.
after some realization. Okay,
Yeah.
that's enough. That data is enough. Okay, here I think Uma ma'am suggested after coronavirus. Yes. So all these are based on some data. All these are based on some data. So we came to know, we forgot like what is millet. What is millet based? We know only rice, wheat, and then like I'm wondering in my place probably like people take more ragi and ragi based. That's innate habit. So I don't want to make stories and then like waste your time. I have 10 minutes to go. So quantitative management theory focuses on data. Today data matters. Without data, you cannot predict. So easily data predicts that rural inflation on food is much higher because customers in the rural, people in the rural spend more money on food and food related because they're very much concerned about their health. Because in the urban segment, we are very much okay with the quick commerce platform, and then we order food online. On the go, we may forget to drink water, we take our meal. By the time our office time starts, then we may skip also for some time. But in the rural segment, it won't be like that. So why I'm giving this example is basically we are viewing this information through a form of a data. This is the data that comes through a statistics. This is not a reading. If it is written as a statement, people won't understand. This is given as a numerical data that rural inflation is this and urban inflation is this. So data makes more powered and more what to say approachable these days. So that's a quick understanding on this quantitative. And also coming to this system theory is all about interdependence. Everything is interdependent. Can anyone in the group tell me that I can act as an independent person? I can be an independent in all my life, in my entire life, or in some activity I can be independent. Yes. No one can be an independent person when it comes to your social life, or when it comes to your yeah. No, we can't. That's an example of the system theory. Okay, so this approach views organizations as a system that emphasizes that interdependence in an organization is mandatory. For every organization, marketing, finance, systems, HR, PR, that is your HR department, inventory management, transportation, or maybe administrative department, all together should work. If any one department which is not connecting or suiting, probably what happens, it may lead to a problem. Assume you in your company, finance department is there, and you are part of a procurement department. You want to buy something today for the company. Your finance department says that I don't have money today, come tomorrow. Can we leave like that? So there should be a proper understanding. So when there is a procurement requirement, finance should clear that immediately. Nowadays we have maybe credit period, probably later payments are happening, but later payments also, the credit period also need to be paid back on time. The best example is DMart. DMart pays, sorry, I think there is a power cut here, then I'll switch on my camera. Ami, I think I look very scary. Adjust with me. Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, here there's a power cut. Sorry for that. Okay, so thing is, DMart pays their vendors now. It came. Yeah, so DMart pays their vendors on time. And also, like there are other players are there, but I don't want to talk much on that. So what happens here? The vendors' payment period is very less. So what happens? They get back the amount and then they supply again. So that's how the system works. When the inventory department takes products, finance departments need to pay on time. So every department in the organization should get interconnected and they should work well. So that is all about this system theory. And coming to the next one called contingency theory. And this is my last slide. So when it comes to this contingency theory, COVID-19 is the best example for us to, I think this generation, millennials, Gen Z, even like we are teaching people to how you have experienced this. There are like we have escaped from this COVID-19 batch, but during our academics, but there are many Gen Zs. I don't think Gen Zs are there in the group. Gen Zs are there? Any Gen Zs there? Okay. So what happens here is basically we have learned a lot of lessons. I think someone said that I started consuming millets because of this COVID-19. Because we all know very well that how it impacted. People with good physique, people with good, what do you say, body weight, PMI, body mass index, they lost their life. Do you agree? Do people agree? People have with perfect body fit, BMI, even they lost their life in the COVID. I don't want to like call that was very pathetic condition. And I think, and in US, probably you know that people lagging with insurance claims, and they also denied to give insurance, medical facilities. I think that was very pathetic because their people crowd is basically the elderly group. So we have the younger group, but yeah. So the Indian workforce system is entirely taken by majority of the GCCs. But that was nice to work with GCCs, but still we need to innovate and bring something new in our economy, and then we need to sell it across to other countries. So that's a dream that we Indians have. Okay, so coming to this contingency approach, we have to be ready for any consequences. We have to be ready for any consequences. I go with an example. uh, I think those who are in the group, those who are working in GCCs, global capacity centers, and few are working in Indian based companies, and also like people have working in maybe multinational setup organizations. Do they have data centers in one country or in different countries? Do companies have data centers in one platform, or they may have data centers in two or three different platforms?
Different platforms.
Why they have in different platforms, sir? Sir, sir.
Because here there will be a head office, there will be available the data over there. There will be some branches, they'll keep the data there as well. If any environmental crisis happens in one place, they can utilize from another place.
Correct. Fantastic. So what Said sir said is like to the point. So why unnecessarily? Because even data warehouse management is not at free of cost. So every time we need to handle carefully, and then because of the cyber attacks, you know very well, even banks are also facing more cyber attacks. And you all know, every time like banks also weekly once or monthly once, they will say, "Dear customer, there is a server check and server connection issue that's happening. So please don't expect transaction during the time." So it is very pathetic to see even public sector banks, even like well established private banks, also face problems. Cyber attacks are there. So companies, even well established companies, also face problems. So handling their data and protecting their data is not that easy. So contingency is like, we need to be more protective, and we need to be like ready to handle any situations in an organization. So that is all about contingency theory approach. Simple. Okay, so I don't want to give more examples here. So in the list, I hope I have given all the thought process. Classical, classical basically covers on scientific, bureaucratic, and administrative management. Behavioral theory talks about humanistic. Elton Mayo's harpoon experiment, and then like it's about testing the people in two different rooms, and also Maslow's hierarchy theory. So how humans, and then quantitative approach, data handling and data approach in an organization, followed by system, connecting every department in an organization. Very simple: input, process, output. If every connects works properly, a product becomes a commodity in the market, and the commodity will be experienced by the customer, and the feedback will be taken by the manufacturing unit to rethink and design in a better way. So it has a process, it has a system involved in it. And the last one is contingency. Contingency basically works on how things can be handled in difficult times, during difficult times, as if there is a data breach, if there is a climatical failure, if there is a big cyber attack. So probably in these occasions, we can handle the business in such a way. So I think any questions or any queries you can ask me, so that I can answer if you have time. Do you have any other session after this?
No, sir.
Yeah. So
So
any
can you please
questions?
share?
Yes, ma'am.
So can you please share this PPT, sir?
Ma'am, can you make it? You want the PPT? I'll share in the group now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, that will be helpful.
Yeah, I'll share in this group right now. So give me a second. Let me.
Sir, if you send it in this group, it will disappear after the call.